Welcome once again to RWR Plays TEW2020. We are, of course, now doing our local to global series with the promotion Random Wrestling Revue. And last time I had to bail out pretty quickly because we were running out of time. You'll know that obviously if you've been watching this series regularly that I don't like to do more than half an hour per episode, and we were right up to the time limit. In fact, we went past the time limit on the last episode. And so I quickly flashed through the Wrestler Company and Wrestler Awards of the Year awards, and then bailed out. And maybe one of the reasons I had to move so quickly was because I was struggling to get over the fact that Kevin Nash had been declared Wrestler of the Year. What's this down here? WCW Crisis. The future looks bleak for WCW as reports indicate that the company is in a complete tailspin, with attendances dropping rapidly and many of the top stars on the brink of walking out. Some insiders have even stated that the company could be out of business by the end of next month. More news as it arrives. I saw this at the bottom of the news feed and thought, what's going on? What is actually happening here? I'm actually going to. Is there anything else that I can see on here that explains to me why this might be the case? Is there? So they got $58 million. There's just no way they're in any kind of trouble. Maybe show history will help me understand. I mean, 44,000 attendance, 129,000 buys. I don't think they're in any kind of crisis whatsoever. I think that might just be a glitch somehow. Uh, anyway, we move on because we have got lots to do. 1997 is upon us. We've got a new champion, of course. That is Michael Modest after he defeated Buddy Wayne in Chemo in a triple threat match at the last event. We've got to schedule our next event as well, talking of events. And we're going to do RWR, a new flame. A new flame to go with a new year for RWR's next show. Good to not worry so much about finances right now because we're in a good place. I think we'll make it an hour though, as always. And that's one thing that I'm looking to do reasonably soon is to up the length of our shows from 1 hour to 2 hour or 1.5 hour maybe, because we are getting to that point where the money coming in is good enough that we really don't need to worry about putting on such short shows with so little wrestlers in. In fact, we had 5 wrestlers on the show last month, and we still made a very tidy profit. So I'm pretty happy with where we are, to be perfectly honest. I don't think we need to be quite so conservative going forward, but we'll do it this one more month and then we'll see where we are. Maybe we'll up ourselves to an hour and a half. But if we do that, we're going to need, I think, to bring in at least one more guy. One thing that I might try and do on this episode of the series is to kind of explain to you the ranking system that I'm trying to use. And I'll do my best to do it because I actually thought about describing it and going through it, explaining it. And I thought I really should probably write it down and then read what I've written down, because if I don't do that, I might might confuse everybody. But effectively, the way the ranking system works is that each match that you win, you get a point. Effectively, you get 1 point. And the person with the most, and that includes any singles matches, any tag matches, any kind of match, you get a point for winning. The person then with the most points becomes the number one contender. Really, really basic, really, really simple. Then when they have their title shot, if they lose the title shot, they lose all of their wins. Okay, so they lose all their points effectively, and then the number one contender becomes the person who had the second most amount of points going into the show. That's about as simple as I can make it. The champion, if they lose the belt, go through the same issue. So they perhaps have been racking up victories as champion, but the minute they lose the belt, they also lose their points. And the only slight kind of grey area that I will accept is where somebody has drawn in the title. They have a title match and they draw in that match. Interesting here. Blitzkrieg hired by Omega. Is this a new promotion? I think this is an entirely new promotion. Yes, it is. Interesting. Well, I think they were a real promotion though, Omega, weren't they? So, but yes, Omega have come along and they've hired Blitzkrieg. They've also got Shane Helms, Chavo Guerrero Jr. Decent little promotion that. I'll come back to the stuff um with the rankings in a minute. Buddy Wayne fully fit as well. That is lovely to see at long last. Probably should have got the belt off of him well before this point, but nevertheless, he is now back to full fitness. Yeah, so basically, the only grey area is where somebody goes for a title shot and they draw that title shot. Then there's sort of a little bit of discretion that can be shown by the promotion to give them a rematch or to put them back into the mix at the top. Um, without having accrued so many points. And if you lose if you lose an ordinary match, like if you have just a one-on-one match, not for a title, you don't lose your wins. You don't lose your points. You just stay on the same amount of points. But it's only when you get a title shot, if you lose that match, you then lose your points. Hopefully that's clear. At the moment, as I said, I went through and tested it all, and we are absolutely in line with that system up to this point in terms of the people who've got title shots. The only times, as I say, when that system has been slightly a grey area is when somebody has drawn a previous title match. So this will be our main event for A New Flame. It's going to be Michael Modest against Sean Stasiak. In fact, I might even make that 18 minutes. It's going to be won by Michael Modest. This is his first title defense, and it's up against Sean Stasiak, and this is now going to my ranking system. Stasiak has 2 wins as compared to Blitzkrieg 1 win, and all the rest of the people on the roster have got 0 wins because obviously Buddy Wayne and Chemo were in that title match and lost, so they have 0 wins to their name. So Stasiak has the most wins of anybody other than Michael Modest in the company, and so he's the number 1 contender and he gets the title match. But Michael Modest is going to win, albeit with a tainted finish. Now, the other match, what am I going to do for the other match? That's the question. So I was thinking of bringing somebody in for the other match, and I forgot to do that. I just raced on ahead, didn't even think about it. So what we're going to do is I think we'll have Buddy Wayne, first fully fit match since he got injured over a year ago. He will take on Wellington Wilkins Jr. and he will get the win to get himself back on the board after um after some time where after being stripped of all his victories. He had previously 11 matches, 7 wins, and all of those wins have been scrubbed from his record now because he lost the title. That's how the rankings work. So we're going to have that's the main event. Buddy Wayne and Wellington Wilkins Jr. will also face each other. Now, Buddy before the Buddy Wayne match, after the Buddy Wayne match. So anyway, Chemo's going to come out. He's going to be still on the screen, still in the ring. Sorry, Michael Modest. So what's going to happen is after the match, Chemo's going to come out and demands a rematch for the title. Wayne also makes his case. In fact, we're going to have to therefore have him also talk. So both Chemo and Buddy Wayne make their case for a rematch against Modest. And we need 2 more minutes of something. What's that going to be? Michael Modest is going to speak to them after the match. Modest tells Wayne and Chemo that he'll face the winner of a match between the 2 men. So that's how it's going to go. We don't need that to be quite so long. So that's the show. I think everything's fine. Yeah, everything's good there. So those are the matches we're going to have. Buddy Wayne versus Wellington Wilkins Jr., Michael Modest versus Sean Stasiak. And we start this event with 65 people in attendance. And Buddy Wayne versus Wellington Wilkins Jr., 13 minutes, 23 seconds is the length of the match, and Buddy Wayne wins by pinfall. A 7 rating of 27. You can see here Buddy Wayne, 29 in ring performance, and no longer being held up by his injury, is looking much, much better for it. After the match, Chemo comes out and says that he wants a rematch against Michael Modest for the title. Buddy Wayne says that he too deserves that title shot, and there is a segment rating of 28 here. In fact, what I'm gonna say, that is not what happened. What instead happened, this is my revised angle for this, is that Buddy Wayne after the match says that he wants a rematch for the title, having been champion for the last however many months, for over a year. And Chemo comes out and says, no, I should be the person who gets the title shot. And they argue, and that's how it ends. Segment rating of 28. Buddy Wayne improvised well through the segment. The angle got the crowd hotter. Good stuff all round. And then the main event saw Michael Modest defeat Sean Stasiak in 17:41 by pinfall while using the ropes for leverage. So Modest cheats to beat Stasiak, and Michael Modest makes his first defense of the RWR Northwest title. You can see here Modest was a 25, Stasiak a 27, but Stasiak seemed off his game, which is a bit of a disappointment. I thought this might be the best match in company history yet, but wasn't. Segment rated at 25 is still good. Then after the match, Michael Modest tells both Buddy Wayne and Chemo that he'll face the winner of a match between the two men, so long as they are the number one contender by the time they have the match. And he references the fact that Blitzkrieg is currently on 1 win and will therefore currently is the number one contender for the title. And that's the end of the show. An overall rating of 26, and again, increased our popularity in one region. So I think Buddy Wayne deserves a compliment for his performance, as does Michael Modest, and I think Sean Stasiak as well. Easy enough. Nothing too... Nothing, no, not too much praise going out there, but, it was fine. So that's the latest show. And we've got a little bit of popularity in the Southwest now, and that's because there's always a little bit of spillover popularity that you get as your company builds its own popularity, and we've got one popularity in the Southwest, so we are growing as a company, and that might help us actually even more with our sponsorship, which is in really good health. I mean, look, we've got 2 weeks left of sponsorships come in, and we're already in the in the profit making section there. So really happy. Doink the Clown has won a title somewhere. The ECW Hardcore TV title, the ECW television title, is won by Doink the Clown. He defeated Brian Lee and Headshrinker Samu for that title. I mean, this is one of the things that I think the game really, really struggles to mimic or to get right, is the individual kind of characteristic of a wrestling promotion. Obviously, the game isn't made for like the real world or even historical, historical save. So it was never intended to be able to do that. But yeah, it just feels like maybe there could be something in the game which allows you to be perhaps a little bit, allows the AI to be more selective about who it might book and who it might push. Maybe, for example, there could be something in the game where the AI only pushes wrestlers who can work the style of the promotion. I mean, maybe that's the problem. Maybe Doink the Clown does. Maybe that's why Matt Bourne, I guess, probably can work a hardcore style. Is there I mean, brawling, I suppose, is probably one of the big things. I mean, not a bad brawler, hardcore, not bad. So again, maybe that's the problem. Never mind. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to the end of the month. And I think what we're going to have to do for the next show is bring in another wrestler. I think we need an additional member of the roster. We also need to continue the Ed Moretti Blitzkrieg feud. So I am seeing this as potentially being the first show which will have an hour and a half length. I mean, it won't end up having an hour and a half length. It'll probably be, more around the 65, 70-minute length when all is considered. But I think we need that longer form of show going forward because we're trying to cater for quite a few different things that are going on right now. We know the main event's going to be Buddy Wayne and Chemo in another rematch between the two. I think this will be their fourth meeting. And we also will have something where Blitzkrieg and Ed Moretti are interacting. I'm not sure what else we're going to have, but I do kind of want to bring somebody else in to just fill out the roster a little bit more. So we're just going to bide our time as the game finishes off January of 1997. Many, many months into the Game World timeline already this time around. So I'm hoping that the rankings are clear for people and how they work. I might start to also give you a visual aid, like a table each show to kind of explain or show where people are in the rankings. But all I can say is that Blitzkrieg and Blitzkrieg and Buddy Wayne have a win each. And of course, if Buddy Wayne can beat Chemo, then that will mean he will be the number one contender. End of the road for Dynamite Kid. And very sad news today after ignoring the great deal of complications he was experiencing with walking. Dynamite Kid has been told by specialists that he can no longer walk. This is real world stories being woven into the game by whoever created this mod, which is quite clever. I like that a lot. I've said there's a video on my channel somewhere about kind of features I'd like to see, and one of the features I'd like to see is these kind of events, but having consequences that change from game to game, or where the player has a choice to make about the event and that changes the course of the game as well. Those kinds of things would be really cool. So we're into week one. Financially, we did really well, our best ever month. So yeah, as I say, the next event is going to be a bit longer. We're in February, right? So same as ever for that. And we are going an hour and a half. So yeah, what are we going to call this one? 90 minutes of mayhem. Love it. 90 minutes of mayhem to coincide with our new length show for this one. 90 minutes of mayhem. Now let's find a talent we can bring in. Now we're going to look through who's available from the Northwest, but I don't know. See, Lenny Lane might do. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. He's been hired by Omega as well. He's a pretty decent wrestler. Let's just have a look at what's available in the Southwest, where our popularity has increased as of late. Jenna Jameson, that's interesting. Kendall Windham, 90 per show. Kid Chaos. Yeah, I like the look of Kid Chaos. Shane Ballard's in the game. Interesting. A lot of these people have not got any pictures. But anyway, Kid Chaos. I think I'm going to sign him. So he's going to come in 50 again. So another really decently priced wrestler. And that's the latest guy that's coming in. If there are a few more audio kind of silences or even not, but strange noises, that's because I'm coughing a little bit during the making of this episode, so apologies. Okay, so let's proceed towards 90 minutes of mayhem, the second event that we're going to cover today. Where we're going to see Kid Chaos make his debut in addition to some other stuff. So I think I know. I think I know what the main matches are going to be. So this will be interesting. So we brought Kid Chaos as in, signed a contract. Yeah, we know what the main event's going to be. It's going to be Buddy Wayne versus Chemo. Winner gets a title shot, or winner theoretically gets a title shot, depending on how many wins Blitzkrieg has got. Blitzkrieg will face Kid Chaos in a match. And we may have to have a third match as well if that's not enough. But we'll see pretty soon, I guess. Now I don't know how many, like how long the matches need to be for this. If I only do two matches, for example, how long the matches need to be? Probably quite a long time. So I probably will want a third match. In fairness, let's just see what happens. And yeah, I mean, I think we're at the point where that the universe is going to start expanding, or at least the universe of the RWR is going to expand because there's no reason why it shouldn't. And if we're going to do hour and a half shows, then we're going to need, yeah, we're going to need to do some stuff. We need more wrestlers, more stories to keep those wrestlers sort of utilized. So let's have a look then. First of all, we want the main event to be Buddy Wayne and Chemo. They, if you look at this now, so they had their first match all the way back at Third Time's a Charm. They then had their second singles match at Seventh Heaven. Their third singles match was a no contest at November Fest, and of course they were both in the triple threat match at the RWR three-way show in December. So this is going to be their last. Well, not necessarily their last match, but it's going to be the latest in the latest match between these two. The winner is going to be Chemo, and he's going to win by pinfall, but due to the outside interference of Michael Modest. So Modest is actually going to help his old his old friend, his old teammate. My instincts tell me that Buddy Wayne is going to struggle in a match of this length, and that Chemo will too. Why don't we just take that down to 19 minutes? It should. Hang on. Take it back up to 21, but put it as slow build. That will probably get them through. It does. Right. We're then also going to have Kid Chaos against Blitzkrieg in Kid Chaos's first match. Um, we better sort his gimmick out in a minute. So this is going to be an all-out match between these two, and it's going to be end in a pinfall and a victory for Blitzkrieg. I am trying to be very careful about. Okay, I am trying to be very careful about the, the who wins and who loses. And hang on, we've got a couple of things I haven't done here. So first of all, let's sort out Kid Chaos and his gimmick. He's got an extremist gimmick, and he's not going to be a babyface. He's going to be a heel. I'm changing that gimmick as well, though. So this is going to be. So you can't play dominant comedy, badass, legitimate, Weasley underdog, or offbeat, unstable. So there's a lot that he can't do. I'm going to go do realistic, though. And we're going to have him as a. So I'm just going on this one picture that I can see. It might kind of represent him in a not particularly accurate way, but that's what I can see. I want him to be a bit like I could see him like as a bit like um a bit of a stoner kind of guy for some reason. I don't know why. He reminds me a little bit of like there's a tinge of Raven in there, which I think is probably what's kind of doing it for me. But I don't want him to be a stoner. Just doesn't fit our family friendly product, which is what we are. In case I hadn't made that clear in the past, that's what the product is set up to be. So I'm just going to make him obnoxious. That's his overriding characteristic is obnoxious, and we will keep everything reasonably generic and safe. But he's got an obnoxious gimmick. So we're going to start out by having Kid Chaos on the mic. Chaos introduces himself to the RWR crowd and makes no friends while... Can it spell friends? Friends while doing so. Okay, so that's how he's going to introduce himself. Then we're also going to add an angle after the match, and this is where we bring in Ed Moretti. He's going to attack Blitzkrieg after the match. Typing. Typing is a problem. Blitzkrieg and leaves him lying. So Blitzkrieg may get the victory, but Moretti attacked him straight after the match. Now, I think we're going to need another match. We need another 22 minutes of this show yet. And we also need to be we need to be at least 70%, I think, of the show matches. So, what else am I going to do here? I think I'm left with no option but to have Sean Stasiak face Wellington Wilkins Jr. in another match. I know they've already fought before, and I know this isn't going to take up 22 minutes. We're going to have to go for about 13. But I think we just need another match, somebody to beat Wellington Wilkins Jr. ultimately. And this is what we're going with. It's going to be a decisive win for Stasiak. And that is going to be the opener. So we still need to book at least 7 more minutes. So maybe going to increase this by another couple of minutes. No, just 1 minute. Probably do it because I think I'll add Modest tells Chemo he doesn't get a title shot as Blitzkrieg now has 2 wins after tonight. So he takes great pleasure in informing Chemo that despite his victory, he's not going to be the number 1 contender. That is Blitzkrieg's place. So that's where we are now. Still got 2 more minutes. We've got a book. Okay, we can just up this a bit. So that's the show. Just check in. So we've got all the matches have no. We need a storytelling match. So let's make that one the storytelling match. I think that should give us everything we need for this show. So yeah, I'll go into the show now and kind of do this. I think we're going to go over half an hour today, but never mind, just the way it goes. So here we go then. 64 people. And in the opener, Sean Stasiak defeats Wellington Wilkins Jr. in 12:48. Stasiak a 29. He continues to perform pretty well and a segment rating of 27. Then we have Kid Chaos introduce himself to the crowd, and his gimmick got an initial rating of great, which is a really good start. Kid Chaos, though, was terrible with no script to follow, and his dialogue was a mess. Nevertheless, he then faces Blitzkrieg in an all-out match, and Blitzkrieg sustained a Smith's fracture. I don't know what that means. We're going to have a look at that in a minute. And the reason we've got real problems here, so I have to return to the booking screen. Kid Chaos beats Blitzkrieg in 8:41 by pinfall. An injury to Blitzkrieg meant that an audible was called, and the finish was changed on the fly. So this is a big problem here. Segment rating of 20. Blitzkrieg was still great, but Kid Chaos defeated Blitzkrieg. So right, we've got to change some things on the fly here because we might be able to get away with this. I'm going to leave this here, I think. But he can't say that Blitzkrieg's had 2 wins anymore. So I don't know what I'm gonna. Don't know. I don't know what this final. I don't know what this final thing's going to be because That was not not expected and not planned for. So Buddy Wayne and Kimo are going to face each other. Kimo's going to win. Okay. Modest tells Kimo he won't face Kimo for the title unless he puts his career on the line. That's what we're going with. No more Blitzkriegs. Nothing to do with him anymore. That's what we're going with instead. So that was our change on the fly. So we continue the show. After the match, Ed Moretti attacks Blitzkrieg. Despite the injury to Blitzkrieg, I thought we might be able to get away with it. We could. Segment rating of 32, one of the best segments we've had, and that gained heat in their story. Then we've got Buddy Wayne versus Chemo. Not a particularly good match. Segment rated of 18. Buddy Wayne at 28, Chemo at 26. Just too long, I guess, ultimately for our audience. And Chemo wins when Michael Morris interferes. And then after the match, Michael Morris tells Kimo that he won't face Kimo for the title unless he puts his career on the line. Now, the thing I was trying to do here was basically have Michael Morris come out, help Kimo to win, because if Buddy Wayne had won, he'd have the same amount of victories as Blitzkrieg and would qualify for a title shot. But as Kimo won and Blitzkrieg was supposed to win earlier in the night, Morris helped Kimo to win so that he could avoid facing Kimo for the title. As it is, Blitzkrieg got injured and they had to change the match on the fly, the result of the match on the fly. So Kid Chaos wins it, which means we've had to change the nature of this promo. And I don't know, maybe we can just we can. I think ultimately we can glean from this that Michael Morris was more eager to face Chemo in this match than Buddy Wayne. And that's the end of the show. Increased our popularity in one region. I think we will start by giving Blitzkrieg some encouragement, given he's obviously gotten injured. Sean Stasiak was still very good, so I think I'll give him a compliment. And Blitzkrieg, I've already got Blitzkrieg. Who else? Ed Moretti, because their angle was really good. So we've got all kinds of stuff to think about as a consequence of that show, not least the injury to Blitzkrieg, but we'll get all into that into all of that, I should say, on the next episode. Thank you for watching. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.